A 5, 6, 7, 8. Step into the podcast. Watch the podcast come to life.
In space.
I
I was wandering away.
What if I was that formal with my dog? That's like some people use the term place.
Yeah,
to get their dog.
Shannon enjoyed that one.
I know, it's too formal for me.
Bubbles has a club. We tell her go to a club.
Club, like the clubhouse.
It's her bed if it's just like, if we're eating dinner and she needs to not be trying to eat our dinner, she goes to her bed. But any other time she's barking or whatever, it's her club, which she has self-assigned to me in our closet. And so we put a little bed in there for her because she picked that as her calm spot. So we say go to your club.
Oh, that's really cute.
Yeah.
We have been using a trainer for these two little absolute bastards, and she calls it the create their puppy safe space.
Oh,
which is really true, and they really like it. They really love it. They ask for great times.
Oh, I'm itching. I'm going to itch myself on my rib
Oh my
cage.
gosh, right on camera and everything.
Camera, but it was like, how long am I supposed to maintain
you have to,
that itch?
Yeah, you have to get it. It's okay, even if we're on camera. And that being said, we are on camera. Welcome to driving to Disneyland from this spaceship, which will deposit us at Disneyland later on. We come replete with pugs.
Yes.
Some accoutrement.
Uh-huh. Flashy cups.
Oh,
look at your ears having tags.
If we wanted to. Oh, yeah. Well, this one, my sister, damn it, Diana.
Is that from Paris?
Yes. She brought this from Paris.
Aww.
And she said, we only took carry-ons, so you know I love you if I use this space in my bag to bring.
Wow. Yes.
It was a gift and a threat, or like one of those. Kristen.
Hi.
You have a wife.
I have a wife that I have.
Look at that. Zoom in. Kristen has not seen me for 1 month because she has been busy being a wife.
I've been busy being a wife, having holidays.
Yes.
And then navigating a citywide crisis.
Yes, which we both escaped and are now doing really well. We're safe. We stayed safe.
Yeah, we're using a lot of HEPA filtration.
We sure are. We are being real careful and also just really sending a lot of thoughts and prayers and all that good stuff out to friends of ours. Like, if you have friends in LA, everyone knows at least someone, if not multiple people, who've lost their homes.
Yeah, literally everybody knows multiple people who lost their homes.
Yeah. I had one coworker who we thought his house might be gone, other than the ones whose houses were gone.
Yeah.
But one who thought his house was gone, and then his wound up being one of those ones that was like, well, there were 11 houses on the street, and mine's one of 4 that made it.
Yeah,
I
have a coworker in that same situation.
So strange, but he said they can't get back into it for probably months because
smoke damage and
and no gas, no water, no everything is shut down. It's just it's a whole big mess.
It's a whole thing. It's been first month of marriage is she and I are doing relationship-wise great.
Great. Amazing. Supportive.
Circumstantially,
yes.
Things are crazy.
Really crazy.
Yeah.
So do what you can. Give to GoFundMes. And thanks, everybody, for checking in on your LA friends, because I know we both had a lot of friends check in on us and family and stuff. So
yeah, man.
But other than that, marriage. You live in a house.
Yes.
You have a dog.
Yeah.
And you have a wife.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, adulthood.
And on top of that, tomorrow, January 20th, is my birthday.
Which is only her birthday.
Yep. There are no other significant events tomorrow.
Nope. Except for we do respect and honor the sacrifice of Martin Luther King Jr.
Yes, that's correct.
Yes.
So
and other than that,
nothing's happening.
Nothing that I can think of, really.
Nope.
So we're going to have a birthday movie night tonight.
Yes, we're going to be watching Annie, 1982.
So, unfortunately, the men in our life have chosen not to join us, just because they had previous plans.
Previous plans to not watch Annie, 1982. Which I respect, but sure. I think they are again, forgetting that there is a helicopter in the movie.
Right.
There's
Okay.
a helicopter.
I mean,
And FDR.
FDR. You know what? You said something to me yesterday. You said it's your newsies. And like,
Yeah.
I mean, Freddie Roosevelt and his, or Freddie. Teddy Roosevelt in his carriage and FDR in a helicopter?
Yeah.
I mean, what more can you need?
I mean,
Just red hair.
You got Carol Burnett is what more you could need.
That's what you need.
Yeah, some Bernadette Peters,
Oh, excellent.
little Albert Finney.
Wait,
in a
is
bald
that
cap.
Yul Brynner? Is he Daddy Warbucks in that one?
I think I thought it was Albert Finney.
Oh,
now,
well, I don't know. Which
Well,
one
shoot.
is Yul Brynner?
Yeah, now I need because I think
Or
it
is
could
Yul Brynner
be.
not in any Annie?
All right, let's.
We're
see
gonna
here.
find this
Let's
out.
find it. I thought it was Albert Finney because he's also in this like 1970s Scrooge movie that's Nathan's favorite that we watched, and Madison was like, "Wait, he's also Daddy Warbucks." My mind is blown. Here, Annie, 1982. Okay, that's him. It is Albert
Sure.
Finney.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Is he bald in it?
Yeah.
I wonder if Yul Brynner
I'm
was
confused
ever.
because I've only seen Albert Finney as Daddy Warbucks and Ebenezer Scrooge. And so I don't think I have great context for what his realistic looks are.
Yul Brynner the bobsledder?
That was a perfect entrance by one Brad being Married to Me fame.
Brad.
Anyway.
Anyway.
That's what we're going to watch. And speaking of things that will be cozy and are cozy, we're joined today by Wendell and Lottie. But yeah, these are when we're in the spaceship, we can have pugs with us.
Yes.
And then they just hang out in the spaceship while we go to Disneyland,
Yeah.
which is really exciting.
They love it there.
Yeah, they love it there. There's like things for them to do on the spaceship. So this is like one reason to be watching this on YouTube/TikTok.
TikTok? That app that does it?
That
It
app that
exists?
President Donald Trump saved, I guess,
Oh,
is
you
the
mean
new
that
narrative.
app that he banned and then pretended to save. Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
Got it.
The reason, the app that he said, hey, let's ban this, and then everybody banned it, and he was like, just kidding. And then everyone was like, I worship the Donald Trump for saving the TikTok.
Yeah. But he's not doing anything tomorrow, so that's fine.
No, he's not doing anything tomorrow.
Nothing else.
But thankfully, supposedly, we're giving him credit for saving TikTok.
Oh.
I saw a TikTok that was like, you know, of course, yesterday every TikTok was about like TikTok going away, which like I didn't think it would actually ever go dark. I thought they were just gonna like not update it, but TikTok did like block it for like 4.5 hours or something.
Yes.
But there was one TikTok that was like, imagine what it's gonna be like when 170 million Americans like go cold turkey on their addiction on the same day. I was like, yeah, it's going to be bad. But here we are watching TikToks about the disappearance of TikTok for 4.5 hours.
And now I'm like, what happens with all the influencers that posted those videos that were like true confessions? Now that the app is dying, let me tell you the truth that like I didn't do half of these workouts. I didn't drink any of these coffees.
Right.
But now they told those truths, but then like the app was only gone for like 4 hours.
Yeah, well, sucks to be them, I guess. But there really is no refuge other than TikTok because, as we all know, Instagram is just like a dying, horrible cesspool. Facebook is for olds. Red Note is in Chinese.
I think maybe we'll just, what if we all just get back to, was it Marco Polo? What if that's just it? We don't need the public. We just send things to our friends.
I mean, in other news, I'm going to read so many books this year if TikTok goes away.
What if we're like well adjusted or something?
What if we just like get our brains
What if
back?
our attention spans are okay?
What if we just get like 8 to 12 hours a week back in our schedules? How about
What
that?
if we just like drastically reduce our anxiety levels?
What if we just like suddenly could carry on a conversation that lasted more than like 45 seconds?
What if we don't know everything that's going on at all times?
What if that's fine? What if that's fine?
What if we live like wow, oh no, I lost it. I said what if we lived life like Annie 1982.
No, and I do actually have a theory that is why kids these days, as I alone like to call them, that I think that's why younger people really like The Office, Friends, like these other shows that in recent years have become hugely popular because like every problem can't be fixed with either like let's Google it or like text your friend and they can immediately text you back. I think that like the culture that we had before we were all first of all like staring at our smartphones, but also like before they could basically solve like 90% of problems around which plots develop. I think that's like also like, they're just great shows, but I do think that's why kids like them.
That's interesting.
You know, it's like a culture outside their own. It's familiar enough, but it's like before like cell phones were just like the way we lived like what we lived our lives through.
Yeah. That sounds nice.
They flipped in the middle. There was a Hinge.
And buttons.
Hinge wasn't a dating app then.
The app designed to be deleted.
Yeah. You heard it here first. It works. It works for second and third. Oh, how pleasant. I'm so pleased.
Oh.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, that was like a subtle, the Swedish, what's her name? Meta, the Swedish metallark from Newsies. Ladies and gentlemen, it took a long time to get there. It's okay. It's okay.
We survived.
We commit to jokes even if it takes us a long time to get there.
No, it's fine. We're still mildly traumatized, so we're doing great.
Well, I was telling Kristen recently about my new favorite podcast, which is two boys from Cork who have a podcast called I'm Grandmam. And they are just these like two Irish boys who are so cute and funny. And they like have become like my little Irish aunties. And I just love them. So if you need a podcast that's like a little fun thing and like an escape from the world and just like a little moment of joy, please go listen to them. But one thing that they started talking about the other day is they were talking about the Disney villains that are queer coded. And they started listing these Disney villains. And they're like, oh, okay, of course, Ursula, who's based on the famous Divine, like literal drag queen. Like that's, that's a gimme. But then we have like Jafar, who is obviously like, let's say fastidious. Lives alone with his bird, like very queer coded. We have Cruella de Vil, which is like, we don't see her ever like giving a shit about a man's opinion or
but
like going for a man.
She's also basically a drag queen.
She is also basically a drag queen.
The thing is, the amount that are just drag queens is a lot.
Is a lot. And then I started thinking, hang on, are all Disney villains queer coded?
Scar?
Gotta be. For sure.
Yes.
He's basically a gunkle, but like the evil kind, not the fun
No, the
kind.
black, like more like the family. He's like, if the family rejects the gunkle.
Yep, this is what happens.
Right? Don't reject your gunkles.
Don't reject your gunkle.
Or your gunties.
Gunties. Did you make that up?
I guess so.
Your gunties. It sounds like a little bit like a bad word, but also like I like it. So don't reject your gunkle or your gunties.
Or your...
Can I tell
your
you?
gankles? That's it.
Your gankles?
That's, yes.
Like friend, instead of cankles, you have gankles?
I think that's the non-binary. We go with ankle.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Did you know, I was looking this up, if you have a niece or nephew who is non-binary, the word for that is nibbling.
Yeah.
I can't get behind that.
I think we've got to find something else.
I think we got to just say, this is my close relative.
This is my brother's child.
This is my brother's child, whom I love very much.
Yeah.
Nibbling also sounds a little dirty. Sounds a little bad, but not as great as.
Well, and I've also just heard that used for like if you're saying plural, like if you have a niece and a nephew, you say nibblings.
My nibblings.
And I
see that sounds like you're just saying like a cutie little word. I like it that way.
I guess like if they're little babies.
My little nibbling. My little nibbling. Yeah, it sounds like if you're giving them a sweetie. You're Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's think of some more.
right.
I mean, Maleficent again.
Oh,
she's not after a man.
Got to be quite queer. Evil Queen.
I
can
mean, no
see
witch
it.
who lives in the forest is after a man either.
Well, I mean, she's actually a beautiful queen in a castle.
That's also true.
But she has to be the most beautiful.
She does.
And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like,
She's
I
got
only
great
married
lipstick.
for the money, right? Like
Yes.
Cinderella's stepmother
Yes.
just wanted that money.
She just wanted that money. She like had a marriage of convenience, right? Like
Yes.
earlier on with Cinderella's father.
Yes.
And then he
And,
died
You know,
under mysterious circumstances, maybe. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know how he died.
and then like, you know, we don't know anything about her younger days. Like, was
Right.
she
On a
dancing
softball team.
I was gonna say in a coven, like dancing nude in the forest.
Probably.
Same thing. Softball
Coulda
team.
been.
Same.
Same and same. One's a little more solitude. One's a little more, you know, community orientated.
Let's see. Mother Gothel? Yes.
Wait, who's Mother God?
The one from Tangled.
Oh, sure.
Super. That hair?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is not dressing for a man.
No.
No.
Let's see. So she's also a witch, I think. Or
And you
she-
know what? It gets
yeah.
tricky because in the last 20 years, there basically has been zero villains.
I was just about to say, I'm like, there's none in Moana.
I was going to say semi-villain, the crab.
Well,
He's definitely
you know, it's like the
queer-coded.
closest we come. We've got like what's Hans, Prince Hans in
Sure.
Frozen.
Yeah.
I could see him being queer.
Yeah. Yeah, because he also is after the money, the power.
He's just
I mean,
trying
we're not
to-
saying queer people are after only money and power. However, I mean, like, priorities. If you're not, if
Well, but
you're not
also
in it
look
for
at
love,
the time periods of
Right,
all
exactly.
of these films. You know,
Exactly.
nobody's getting
he had to do it.
any safety or respect.
What do they call it? This is a TikTok term. Is it mandatory heterosexuality
or
or like
complicit
or
heterosexuality?
default?
I don't
it's
know.
like-
The one I know is complicit, and
Yeah.
it more refers to women experiencing that.
Right.
but
Like
yeah.
you're just like, oh, I'm straight because like that's like just what you assume. Everybody like assumes that you're gonna
Yeah,
be.
it's like a big part of it, particularly for women, is just like all examples in the media are like women who are like, oh, my husband. Like we're just like
Yeah.
it's so normalized to be like, no, I'm not attracted to my husband or
Uh-huh.
whatever,
Uh-huh.
and it's just it's built in a different way.
Yeah.
And then also, yeah, your whole role in the world being to get married and have babies.
Right.
That even in more modern times, it's like, it's still in there.
And just like that you as a teenager or whatever, like assume you're straight because like everybody else assumes you're straight. So you're just like, okay. And like you're just told like, well, you know, relationships are hard and like, oh, I know boys are gross and they like fart or whatever. Like maybe you're just like think that they're disgusting or not attracted,
Yeah.
but also like they're disgusting.
Yeah. And then, you know, if you break it down further of like all the different types of attraction, there's like, you know, romantic, aesthetic, which is sort of for me like the stopping point with the male species. It's like I can still think boys are cute.
Sure.
And I can still think they're like kind of dreamy and romantic.
Totally.
But then it's like the second anything actually significant was like it was just like
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know.
yeah. It was like, yeah, full stop.
Which for the video you can see what I mean. I guess that's harder on audio.
You
but
did do like a nice little noise though too.
Like
so yeah, like yes, like a
record scratch. It was always
Yeah.
like, this is so nice. This boy likes me and I
Uh-huh.
like him. And then all of a sudden it was like, wait, no, I hate this. This is so stressful. And it was because I ran out of attraction. It stopped.
Like
It was
that
just
looks
like
nice
I
over
could
there.
have like a little spurt, and then that was all I had.
Ran out of runway.
Ran out of runway.
Ran out of runway.
And then I was like, oh no, I'm eventually gonna have to touch this person.
Run away.
Run away.
Yep, that's fair.
Yes.
So, so I think we've just concluded that all Disney villains are queer coded, which I guess like also does kind of say a thing about like, you know, you could have a takeaway of that that's like, oh, Disney throughout history has thought that gay people are evil. But I think it's actually more like queer people were like putting something of themselves in like a fabulous way also, because those villains are also all fabulous, like
Yeah.
into the story.
Well, and then it's like even think of like, well, this is more the 90s ones. It's like think about who's writing some of the songs and stuff. It's like Howard Ashman, you know, like who's very gay.
Elton John.
Elton
Sir
John.
Elton John.
You know, like the people actually creating a lot of aspects of these villains are queer themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Just trying to find a place.
You know, sneak it in where you can.
Yeah.
Sneak it on in.
I'm sure someone's going to come at us for a lot of things we've just
we
said. And that's
have
fair.
decided.
It's not that deep, you guys.
We've decided. You know what?
Yeah.
Here's a thing. This is something that I have talked about a little bit on other podcasts, but I think we should talk about it here.
Okay.
Because I keep having designs that I'm going to like write an article about it, but like that's not my medium. And so we'll just talk about it right here.
Okay.
So there is something I've been thinking about for a long time. And it is sort of a self-preservation technique. But it is this culture that we have. We have cancel culture, but I think an offshoot of that and a way we all have started to operate is disclaimer culture.
Yeah.
Yes. And what I mean by that is anytime someone says something, it started on the internet, but then also like in person, you have to do it now too. It's like, oh, well, for example, like, you know, talking about like crating the puppies. Well, they love their crates, but like some people are like, that's cruel and unusual. That's terrible, blah, 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 blah. What if you hurt? Like I had someone on one of Mimsy's videos one time. I was like showing her eating a carrot and they were like, that's too big for her. What if she dies? I'm like, well, you know, there's all those things about like, I'm right here. Like, it's not. She eats them all the time,
like,
blah, 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 whatever.
You, person on the internet, have no context for what's going on here. Yeah.
Or like, maybe you've never had a dog before. You don't know, like, they can fully eat carrots and like, that's fine.
Yeah, they love them.
All snacks under
Dogs
supervision.
and reindeer, famously.
And we just have gotten into this thing where we like constantly feel the need to like disclaim everything we say.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but then it also is like you see why people do it because then every like person on the internet is like, but well, and there's no room for humor. There's no room for like hyperbole or being like, this is the best part of this. And it's like, well, what about this? Well, you know, there's no room for anybody to just like give you the benefit of the doubt because the internet is like kind of afraid of everything. And like all of us with anxiety sometimes are like, hey, maybe I just like put my anxiety on you right now.
Yeah.
Maybe just put my anxiety right here on you.
Oh, yeah.
It's like everything little and big. And I think that's also, at least for me, part of why I don't really post much online anymore is just because like you're just waiting for the like, oh my God, what if this happens? Or like that looks like it might be bad for any number of reasons.
Yep.
And you can think of as many disclaimers as you want and say them right after you say the thing in your video. But guess what? There's always going to be somebody who thought of something that you didn't think of why what you just posted is horrible.
Yeah.
So anyway, you heard it here first. Disclaimer culture.
Yes, but like just in case somebody else also said it, we...
Which, by the way...
this is the only person to say it on January 19th, 2025 in this studio.
Spaceship.
Spaceship Studios in the spaceship.
In other news, Disney Plus is profitable.
Yeah, I need to know more about that because does that mean that the park prices are going to go back down?
Yeah.
The parks can stop paying for Disney Plus now?
It's gonna be it's gonna be $1 per admission.
Oh, you mean
Just
like in 1955? And then we pay $30 for every time we get on any ride.
Oh my God, can you imagine? I do think that would be worse. Although it is kind of like exactly how it is now.
It makes kind of sense to me in the 50s, but like now if it was like, yeah, sure, you can come in, but if you want to eat, drink,
or be merry,
ride, stand, look, it'll be $5 just to look at that character.
God, that's like, you know, when we went to that, I think about this a lot. We went to that Luna,
yeah,
which was so fun, and I weirdly like find myself thinking about that thing all the time.
Yeah.
It was like,
it was a cool experience.
It was really cool. It was like, do we want to explain kind of what it was?
Yeah, so essentially backstory is at some point in the 80s. In Germany, there was this little sort of amusement park that was themed after different artists of the time, and each artist designed a ride. So there's like a Basquiat Ferris wheel, Keith Haring carousel, and all these different artists have different rides, and there's different attractions as part of it. And it was lost for a long time, and then it was found like in great shape in all these crates in Texas, I think. And then whoever new owners are, which I can't remember, I feel like is like, it's not Jay-Z, but it's like
not Jay-Z,
somebody,
but it's like Nelly or
what am I
somebody.
thinking of?
I don't know.
But it's been like recovered,
Drake?
and now
Question
it's
mark?
oh,
Maybe. Gosh, we're getting into really like dicey territory
We are.
with the
This is
Drakes and the
getting-
Nellies.
This is Nelly's particularly dicey nowadays. Nelly won't be doing anything tomorrow at any locations.
Nope.
No singing at any events.
Neither will Carrie Underwood.
Moment of silence for Carrie Underwood.
And her career.
Yeah, and it was recovered, and they made it into this traveling exhibit that we went to for my birthday last year, and it was so cool and unique.
Oh, that was for your birthday.
Yeah,
Oh.
in downtown LA.
But I mean, my point about that was just like they had 2 exhibits in there that were like an extra cost.
Yes.
And it was like not like $5. It was like $15 or $20 or something.
It was a good amount to the point where we were like,
just
well,
like, no,
no, I
thanks."
guess we won't walk in that fun house. And it's just, the thing is, all of this stuff was built for kids in the 80s. And it's
Right.
like, so everything's small. So it's like the
Yeah.
thing they wanted us to pay extra for, like, would have been maybe a 2-minute experience
Yeah.
or something. Like,
Yeah.
and it was just to walk through this cool thing. And I
Yeah.
was like, well, why are you
You could kinda
denying
see it
people
anyway.
that?
Yeah. Just like we
who-
paid our money.
We paid our admission.
Yeah.
Like,
And then I bought 2 mugs and a t-shirt,
yes.
which are really cool mugs.
I have we got 2 different like Keith Haring
Yeah.
mugs from
Yeah.
it. It was very cool.
Did you get the one with the spikes on it? I have the one with the spikes on it. I
Ooh,
really like
no,
it.
mine has the design that was on the original like t-shirts that they
Nice.
made for the park that they
Nice.
uncovered, but now, you know, you could
Yeah.
buy the original t-shirt for like, it was like $200
Yeah,
or something like
300
that. But,
something. Yeah.
and then Madison's just has more of like a classic kind of Keith Haring vibe around
I
it.
love it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, Disney. All that to say, yes, the Disney parks are going back to old prices. No, that is a lie.
That would be a dream.
A dream.
And a wish our heart makes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so Disney Plus is profitable.
for the first time ever. And let me just tell you, I do kind of need to like read a little bit of this. So the last quarter of 2024 actually had a $47 million profit, which, as New York Mag says, is like not that big of a chunk of change for a company that's worth $200 billion. However, it's better than the $10 billion of losses that they have accrued over the last half decade since they started Disney Plus. So, can I tell you another thing I think about a lot? 1 billion is not 100 million.
Nope.
It's not 200 million.
Nope.
You know where I'm going with this.
Yes, I do. I do.
It is the next number after 999 million.
It's 1,000
It's
millions.
1,000 millions. And that's something to think about when you hear that B word. So yeah, 47 million is kind of a drop in the bucket. Some of this is the result of like cost cutting measures and staff reductions,
Stuff.
increases in subscription prices,
Bundling it with Hulu, probably.
bundling it with Hulu and ESPN. Which like
Yeah.
every time they're like, do you want ESPN too? Do you want it? Do you want it as well as Hulu and Disney Plus? It's only $5 more than Hulu and Disney Plus. I'm like, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. Women who are in compulsive heterosexual marriages might, because their dudes like football. I can't tell you, I am thankful every day of my life that my particular dude does not like football. No offense, disclaimer culture to anybody who likes football out there. It's just different strokes for different folks. That's what we need. We need more different strokes for different folks.
Yep.
Can I tell you the best example of this that I heard recently? I was like reading a recipe online, some bread, and it called for an egg. And this woman gave the recipe 1 star, and she was like, oh, this turned out terrible. It never set up. My kid has all these allergies, so we swapped the sugar for this, and we swapped that for that, and it never baked and like solidified because I swapped the egg for half a banana, and this recipe sucked. The original writer was like very kind about it, but they were like, I'm sorry this didn't work out for you, and they said some other stuff, and there was like, sometimes we just have to acknowledge that like a banana is not in fact an egg. And that
well, and like someone has a recipe for allergy-friendly banana bread. Someone has that recipe, and you could go to that recipe, and that's going to be great.
That. The egg-free, gluten-free, nut-free, everything free.
Yeah,
we make a lot of those. We have both made them plenty. We have made them plenty.
Banana is not in fact an egg.
It is not in fact an egg. Okay, so let me like scan really quick. Okay, so of course, like Shogun and The Bear were both on Hulu, which helped propel their success.
Mm-hmm.
Even though The Bear, of course, and Shogun won all kinds of awards. I think it's like a little bit of a cheat that The Bear decided like they're a comedy because they're not a comedy.
Okay.
How do you feel about that? Did you watch it?
No, I still haven't watched it.
Well.
It's one of those shows that I really want to watch because I've always loved that main actor guy, Jeremy. What's his face?
Ellen White.
Yes.
Yeah. See, he's somebody that you're like, his face and body look pretty.
Yes, aesthetic attraction.
Yeah.
All the way.
Yeah.
Since Shameless.
Yeah.
But I've just had, there have been so many warnings about how stressful this show is, and I have yet to be at a mellow enough point that I can sit there and watch.
Oh, you want to feel like you're in the middle of a line cook situation with people screaming at you all the time?
I very much want to watch that show, but I'm like, I also know what state my nervous system is in, and so it's tough. We're going to have to watch it like from a bed on vacation or something, I guess.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah.
It sounds great, and I like
it
all
is
the people
great.
in it, and like the vibe, like
I will say the level of stress is different if you have worked in food service or not worked in food service.
Okay.
Because when we first started watching it, like I have sort of worked in food service, but like not in like a line prep sort of way.
Right.
So like Brad was more stressed about that than I was. But then there's the very controversial Christmas episode from not this past season, but the season before that. And that one I could not handle. And I wish I had skipped it entirely.
Was that the all one shot episode or something?
No, but it was a bottle episode. So it was like all these like very much stunt cast.
Okay, yes, I know what you're
situation
talking.
with Sarah Paulson and all these people who are all incredible actors and like trying to like make things for them to do, but the entire episode is just like people screaming and alarms going off and like family strife, and it like doesn't have anything to do with the rest of the plot of the season. So like just fully skip that one.
Okay, great.
Just fully skip that one. Although I did learn that my auntie said the F word at Christmas a couple years ago because of that. Because I was telling my cousin, I was like, no Midwestern mom is like, fuck you guys. And my cousins started laughing and they were like, our mom did. I was like, not at Christmas. They're like, our mom did. And I was like, oh, tell me about that. So that was a fun one.
Okay, so Hulu is helping.
Yes.
So weirdly, the solution for them was buy another company.
They had, of course, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives.
Oh, I watched that show.
But what will happen to Mom Talk, Kristen?
Oh, my God.
Oh, they're going to make such a big deal about this 4-hour TikTok ban next year. Oh, golly.
Oh, that show was still the most accurate representation of Utah that I've seen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not
and
in
you
that,
know.
like, now, not necessarily in that selection of women, because they're not necessarily the every woman of Utah, but it was still the most accurate depiction of Utah culture I've ever seen.
Yep.
Anyway, just so people know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Of course, they were bolstered by Inside Out 2, Deadpool and Wolverine, and Moana 2.
Yeah.
Did you see Moana 2?
I didn't.
I didn't.
I'm sure I will, and I'm sure I'll like it. I'm so mad at them.
We do have... Why? Specifically about Moana 2?
No, I'm sure Moana 2
general.
is... It's probably great. It's just like what... Moana 2 in like just...
Yep.
That it exists.
Yeah. We put the heart back in the ocean or whatever.
Yeah, like what else is there to that?
We soothed that lava lady.
Yeah. Listen, I know I'm going to watch it. I'm going to be like, well, this is great. Because that's how I
Pleasant
felt
enough.
about Frozen 2. I was like, well, I love this.
You know, I was listening to just before you got here and the daily episode about the state of television in 2024, and like there is a lot of bad stuff to say about it, of course, and that like could take 4 episodes to unpack, but like they're basically like, this is the year of mid television. Like this is the time, like we used to have like prestige television,
Yeah.
and now it's all like pretty shitty shows that are sort of like trying to emulate the feeling you got from The Sopranos or Breaking Bad or Orange is the New Black or any of those. It's like trying to like give you that feeling, but it's like mid. It's all very mid.
Okay.
To coin a phrase that the children use.
Maybe that's why we've only been watching pre-existing shows.
I think that's the thing. And like, honestly, like that's why I read so many books this past year, is because like, I was just like, there's nothing on TV. And I'm like getting better at managing my hours on social media. But like, there's nothing like luring my attention away on TV. So I'm like, I get through one episode during dinner and then I'm like, okay, I'm going to bed. And I go read. So anyway, if you want to be what's the word I'm looking for? Hold on. If you want to be
My lover.
if you want to be like a total pest like me and be like, I read so many books this year, then like try to pay attention to TV and you'll get bored and go read a book. Which is not the worst thing. It's not the worst thing. Hey, did you watch Agatha All Along?
Yes, we finally did.
Did you like it? I didn't see it.
I will say that I liked it, but I did not like it as much as I thought I would, or people led me to believe I would.
Yeah.
Overall, yeah.
Fine.
Overall, good.
Was it better than mid?
Better than mid, but
Uh-huh.
not. I was ready for myself to be like, yes.
Yeah.
And I just wasn't.
Oh, interesting.
It wasn't a dislike by any means,
Okay.
but like, yeah, by the end we finished it and we're both like, I thought that was going to be more exciting for
like
me.
pack up a little more of a punch.
I thought I was going to feel that more.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, still cool. Fantastic cast.
Yeah.
They got Patti LuPone in a Marvel project. So, I
Amazing.
mean, just for that alone,
Yeah.
applause.
Everyone
And it's brilliant. But yeah, I don't know.
just fine.
Like by the end, I was like, oh, we're done. Oh,
yeah.
you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I know people feel differently than that, but
I gotta tell you.
I was a little disappointed.
Yeah. I gotta tell you what I'm a little disappointed in right now, and that is this new Dexter series that very much uses half of the face of Michael C. Hall in its advertisement, but he is nowhere to be found in the entire series because it's a prequel. He is narrating it, which is like true to form of Dexter. Did you ever watch Dexter?
A little bit.
It was one of those shows that like was so great for 3 or 4 seasons and then went downhill quick and had like the worst ending possible.
That's sadly a lot of shows.
Yes. And then the like reboot that they did a couple years ago was like pretty decent. Like that was very watchable. But this one, it is actually like catching my attention. Like, it's holding my attention, and I'm liking it. Like I was ready to give up on the first episode, and then I was like, I always give a show a pilot plus one if I think I'm gonna like it, because
that's good, because the pilot is usually a different vibe.
Yes, and it's got so much work to do, and there's so much like that they have to set up in the pilot. It doesn't like give you the flavor of the actual show.
Yeah.
So I always, give it a pilot plus one. And so like after plus one, it like caught my attention. But can I tell you the things that are making me so angry and like so upset? So it's the little things. So the like storyline is decent. It's like true to the show in certain ways. There is like one pretty egregious change that they've made, which is that like baby Dexter basically. So it's about like Dexter when he was like in his 20s, but then they have flashbacks to 20 years before or something. And like in the entire original series, you constantly see these flashbacks to when Dexter like got his dark passenger, which is when his like mom was murdered and he was like there as a baby, like a toddler, like an 18-month-old toddler or something, 12 months old or something. And he's like a toddler in the blood, right? Like you see this constantly.
Yeah.
But then in this, they like decided to make him 5 years old. And I'm like, why is he 5?
Just make a different show.
Just make a different show.
It's the same thing with like the newer Sex and the City stuff where it's like, you know
Yeah.
what? You know how hard we
Yeah.
worked to establish this thing?
Yeah.
We're going to undo all of it right now.
Yeah. Which that's another thing we could talk about.
Well, yeah.
That's for maybe another episode.
I'll bring my wife. You and my wife can have
please.
that one.
Yeah, let's bring her, and then we could all just like scream about it for a little while. But I tell you, other than that, like the things that really grind my gears is like, if you lived through the 80s and 90s, you remember certain things. You were there. It was formative. You remember one year from the next. And there are things like this. Okay, so it's set in 1991.
Okay.
And it's stuff like Deb, who's the sister, shows up wearing like a baby tee under a strappy dress with sunflowers on it. And I am telling you.
In 91?
In 91! Thank you. I can even describe it to you.
Well,
And
it's
you
interesting
know.
because like I wasn't old enough to form memories in 91, but
You still know.
Still know.
You know that was 96 through 98 that would have like started basically.
Interesting.
There's things like
a little bit, I guess, in Clueless. They have a little of that, but they're still not quite
right, but that's
there.
like 95,
it's-
96, right?
I don't know, I think
96?
Clueless was actually kind of early. I feel like that is one that always surprises me how early it is.
How
Hold
early
on.
it is.
Go. Nope, 95.
And like people are saying da bomb, which I had a very hard time verifying this on the internet, but I recall da bomb being something that was like very much a mid 90s thing.
Huh.
And like not a 1991. And what I did ascertain from the internet is that it became, well, it was something that people saying the bomb was sort of like they had said it a little bit in the 60s and 70s. It didn't really like become popular as da bomb until after Criss Cross released their hit Da Bomb in 1993, and it didn't really gain traction until about 1995. And it's like,
Thank you so much for doing that research.
You're welcome. And there's like all these, like, it was so funny because I did actually find a threads where somebody's like, she's wearing this sunflower dress that would not have existed in 91. And then someone later in the comments was like, and they keep saying Da Bomb. And I was like, thank you, the internet. Someone else cares about this.
There's been a few things like that lately where you're just like, no.
No. No.
Like, there was some movie we watched that's set in 2003 that did a pretty good job, but then every once in a while we're like, no.
Uh-huh.
That was not long enough ago for you guys to get wrong. Like, what?
Completely.
Anyone who produced this must have very clear memory of the time. Like,
Yes.
what are we?
And I think like it goes back to like the state of Hollywood right now, which is like these tiny rooms. It's shortened production schedules. It's shortened seasons. It's the fact that they basically like have writers writing the show who are baby writers a lot of times, and because they're cheaper. And like there's not a quote unquote adult in the room to be like, oh, hey, yeah, I'm your mentor, and like showing you how to like relate to actors on set, and like we're doing all these things. And like Hollywood has always been this sort of like mentor mentee / it's like an apprenticeship situation, right? So you have your journeyman, and like they learn from the people who are older and wiser and have been doing this longer how everything works. And like because they've basically dismantled that system in order to make cheaper shows, like this is the sort of ways you start to see those things. And then of course these are just like two specific examples, but like in that show in particular, there's probably 3 or 4 things every single episode that were like, no. There's like one moment where Dexter is like, somebody says something about Michael Jordan, and he's like, who? I get that like the point they're making is like he's not into sports, but like in 1991, you knew who Michael Jordan was. You know what I mean? Anyway.
Life's hard.
Life's tough. And so these are the things that we need to focus on while the world is literally burning around us.
Being a resident of Los Angeles is hard right now.
You know what? Being a resident of Los Angeles
Being
is
a
difficult.
resident of Los Angeles in the entertainment industry, extra hard right now.
Yeah.
Being a resident of Los Angeles, not in the entertainment industry, still hard.
Still hard. Still hard. Still hard. It does bring to mind, like, what is the future of Los Angeles going to be?
I don't know if I have that conversation in me today.
It's okay. We can just put that right in our back pocket. I just think, there's going to be a lot of like people moving to parts of town that they didn't think they might ever live in just because that's where like houses are available. There's a lot that's in flux right now. So
yeah,
probably won't solve it today.
probably not.
But we might solve it tomorrow on your birthday when there's absolutely nothing going on.
There's nothing else going on, so let's do that.
That's great. Okay, that's the plan. Let's do that.
Over cake.
Yeah, over cake. What cake do you have, or do you want me to bring a cake?
I think my wife that I have is getting a cake today of some sort. We were not entirely satisfied with the little cake that we brought to the Big Bear elopement.
Okay.
It was okay, but then we ate the
That was for
leftovers and we
them,
were like,
yeah.
it was kind of weird. It was because, sometimes when a certain person gets elected to a certain office and then you talk to a lawyer friend that's like, you guys should probably get married right now, just in case that's a problem on January 20th. Nothing else is happening.
No.
So then you have 3 weeks to plan that. Sometimes the cake is very last minute.
Yeah, and also like sometimes you have 3 weeks to plan that, and it's only one of 2 of your weddings.
Yes. We got married twice. One was legal.
Which is like adorable and like a really good plan, actually.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
Yeah. You want to talk about it?
Sure. I don't know. This episode's very long. We could
probably.
We could probably trim it
down. Oh my
down.
God, how long have we been talking?
I feel like we've been talking a long time.
Probably. I don't even know.
Is it still recording?
It is still recording.
is.
I don't know what the time
Is
says.
Brett asleep?
No, he's just in the other room probably.
Bless.
Doing a project somewhere.
Anyway, we got married
Okay.
twice. We got once married at a little cabin in Big Bear called the Promise Cabin.
Oh.
Isn't that sweet?
That's very cute.
And then Catherine was there for that.
I was.
That was a little elopement with friends, and Madison's ex-husband married us because we are living a sitcom.
Yep.
And then on Christmas Eve, because all our families were in the same place, we invited them to my grandma's house and told them we were just going to do a little family photo shoot that we want to use for
Lies. It was a lie.
our like engagements and whatever. And then we were like, surprise, it's a wedding. And then my sister officiated that one and she did an amazing job.
And they had like a beautiful rainbow arbor, which was very cute. And I was like, how did you keep that a secret?
My sister.
Miracle worker.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Skills. Yeah. So we had that wedding. We just got the photos from that one yesterday. They're cute. But yeah, it was all extremely scrappy. 3 weeks notice.
Great.
Planned 2 weddings.
Amazing.
So the cake was just okay, which is hard because I really love cake. So we decided that we're just going to like eat cake throughout the year. And it's just going to like, oh, here's our wedding cake at this restaurant. And we're just going to be the people that get a slice of cake.
Yeah.
And it's just like, we're just going to have cake.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the cake made out of? It was some non-traditional
It was
cake.
Okay, so it was from this little French bakery by my parents' place that was like a mile away. And I was like, oh, this cake looks and sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And it was like a berry mousse cake on the outside.
Right.
Which conceptually is like, that sounds lovely.
Yeah.
And then it was nice kind of Gicond light sponge in the middle. The sponge part was actually pretty good. It just turned out that the berry part on the outside, I think, must have been an artificial berry flavoring.
Oh.
I don't know. It was like fine.
Or maybe it needed to keep the air in it or something.
Maybe.
It was fine.
It was fine.
But I just remember you being like, the Frenchman who sold it to us was very concerned we weren't eating it same day.
Yes. It's like, no,
it's going to sit in a car while we travel for 3 hours.
I have to transport it to a cabin. So it was in the freezer. That was part of the issue too. Is it wasn't all the way thawed. It was fine. And it wasn't a bad cake, but it was like, for the cake that you have on your wedding, you want that to taste like, you want it to be like, oh, cake. So we're just going to sprinkle cake throughout the year.
Guess what? More cake in 2025.
Yeah.
More cake. More cake in 2025.
Yeah.
Kristen.
Catherine.
What should we say now that our spaceship has arrived?